the blow that shattered a throne. The grand imperial palace of the Zethari Empire gleamed under the artificial suns of the capital world, Varix Prime. Towers of shimmering crystal, veins of golden alloys, and hovering platforms stretched as far as the eye could see, a monument to alien opulence and human subjugation. Captain Eva Dorne stood stiffly beside Earth's appointed ambassador, her eyes fixed forward, her hands clenched behind her back. Around her, dozens of alien dignitaries reclined on silken cushions, their alien forms, scaled, feathered, multi-limbed, resplendent in ceremonial garb. And at the center of it all, on a dais of black stone, sat King Vorthak, sovereign of the Zethari, whose empire spanned hundreds of worlds. The air was thick with tension as the so-called peace banquet unfolded. Eva, dressed in a drab uniform marked with Earth's broken crest, knew exactly what this was. A spectacle, a reminder, a display of domination. She hadn't wanted to come, but as one of the last surviving Sable operatives, she was valuable, though now her value was mostly symbolic. A human soldier defanged, standing silently while Earth licked its wounds. Then the king spoke. Earth, Vorthak purred in his guttural, warbling tongue, the translation humming softly through implanted chips, was once defiant, proud, violent even, but now, look at them. His golden eyes locked on Eva, a race of insects, tamed, broken. Laughter rippled through the alien audience. Eva's jaw tightened. Her heart pounded. She tasted acid in her mouth, but she held still. The king wasn't finished. He rose, an immense reptilian form draped in living silks, and descended the steps. He stalked directly toward her. This one, Vorthak sneered, circling her like a predator, was a warrior once. A killer of my kind, yes? But now, she stands here, silent, weak, less than nothing. More laughter. Someone tossed a goblet of wine that splashed near her boots. Look at me, human, the king demanded. Eva raised her eyes. For a heartbeat, their gazes locked. Steel and ice. Fury barely contained. The blow came without warning. Vorthak's clawed hand lashed across her face with terrifying speed. Bone cracked. Eva felt her jaw dislocate as she hit the floor with brutal force. Gasps echoed, followed by cruel, delighted laughter. Her vision blurred. Copper flooded her mouth. The taste of blood. Her breathing quickened. Not from fear, but something far older. Deeper. Get her out of my sight. Vorthak growled in disgust, already turning back to his throne. Humans should remember their place. Two Zethari guards dragged her to her feet. Her legs stumbled, but didn't fail. The room spun. The laughter still rang in her ears as she was hauled away. They dumped her in a sterile guest chamber, her mouth smeared with crimson, her breathing ragged. Somewhere distant, alarms chimed softly, signifying the closing of the royal sectors. Her friend Marcus Vey, Earth's chief diplomat and secretly one of her old allies, knelt beside her, panic in his eyes. Eva, stay down, Marcus whispered urgently. I'll call for medical. Just don't do anything reckless. Please. But Eva wasn't listening. The pain was real, but it was fading. Too fast. Her body was repairing itself. Nanocytes working overtime, blood vessels knitting closed, bones shifting back into place. Memories surged. The Sable Protocol, Earth's forbidden soldier program, created in the darkest hours of the Centauri War. She had been one of the first. Engineered, enhanced, unleashed. She thought she had buried that part of herself, left it behind when Earth surrendered. She thought she could pretend to be human again. Then the king struck her, and something inside her snapped. She sat up, ignoring Marcus's pleas. Her fingers flexed, crackling faintly with suppressed energy. The implants beneath her skin reawakened, stealth nodes, adrenaline enhancers, combat reflex overlays. All still there, all still functional. Eva, what are you doing? Marcus whispered, eyes wide. She wiped the blood from her lips and smiled coldly. 3 hours, she murmured, her voice rasping from the broken jaw already half healed. That's all I need. Her eyes burned with something ancient, something human. Something the Zethri had forgotten. Not fear, not surrender. Rage. The monster wakes. The moment the door locked behind Marcus, Eva Dorne moved. Her body trembled. Not from pain, but from the violent surge of nanotech-enhanced adrenaline surging through her veins. Every nerve hummed. Her skin prickled. The broken bones in her jaw had already reknit, bruises fading with unnatural speed. She exhaled slowly. Calm. Cold. Years ago, they'd told her the Sable Protocol was irreversible. The enhancements were buried in every cell, every strand of her DNA. The moment they switched on, they wouldn't stop until the mission was done, or until she was dead. Her fingers danced across the small datapad embedded beneath her wrist. Holographic displays flickered to life in front of her eyes. Internal scans confirmed what she already felt. Her combat augments were fully active. Heartbeat control, reaction time accelerators, skeletal reinforcement. She was no longer just human. She was the weapon Earth had once unleashed on its enemies. The monster they had promised to bury. Eva cracked her knuckles, her mouth twitching into a bitter smile. 3 hours, she whispered to herself. Plenty of time. Her first target was the palace's security grid. Eva pulled open the wall panel near the corner of the room, her enhanced memory recalling the exact layout of Zethri systems. Weeks of passive observation, memorization, and covert scans had paid off. She jacked a microspike from her uniform's hidden seam directly into the palace's neural link. The system buckled. She hijacked surveillance drones, disabled internal alarms, and triggered false signals on the upper floors. Chaos, misdirection, confusion, her bread and butter. The royal guards would be chasing ghosts while she worked. Next, she assembled a makeshift arsenal. The decorative knife from the fruit tray, monomolecular sharp with a little help from nanite sharpening. The wine bottle, converted into a shatter bomb with components stripped from the room's communication relay. Her own hands, enhanced with bone-hard strength that could punch through reinforced metal. Humans weren't the strongest species in the galaxy, but they were the most dangerous. 30 minutes in, 2 palace guards, both dead. Eva had moved silently through the servant tunnels, her augmented reflexes allowing her to dodge security cameras and tripwires with surgical precision. The first guard never even saw her. His neck snapped before he could blink. The second died with a whisper of steel across his throat. Their weapons were crude compared to hers. She left them behind. This wasn't going to be a firefight. This was going to be a purge. She paused in the shadows of the Emerald Passage, the central artery of the royal wing. Up ahead, alien nobles scurried nervously, news of the disabled security systems already spreading. Eva smiled grimly as she overheard panicked whispers in multiple alien dialects. Words like intruder, assassin, and collapse protocol were already being passed between trembling courtiers. Good. Let them fear. Her HUD pinged softly, marking her first priority targets, the royal heirs. The king's 2 sons and 3 daughters, all genetic monarchs, each responsible for overseeing conquered territories across the empire. Kill them first, and the Zethri bloodline would shatter. Eva moved. The first prince, an obese, sluggish alien with 4 arms and ceremonial armor, barely had time to activate his comlink before Eva's blade pierced through his heart. His guards, slow, confused, fell seconds later. Her breathing stayed even, her hands steady. The second daughter was next. She tried to flee, surrounded by elite Zethri guards. Eva used hacked security turrets against them, creating a wall of laser fire. She leapt from above, landing hard enough to crack the marble floor, and drove her blade through the princess's throat. It wasn't personal. It was necessary. 1 hour gone. Blood stained her hands, her uniform. Her internal clock ticked down. Eva ducked into another service tunnel, her mind sharp despite the mounting physical strain. The nanites kept her moving, but she could feel the burn already: muscle degradation, microfractures, organ stress. The Sable augments were never meant for sustained use. She had maybe 90 minutes left before her body gave out entirely. But that was enough. Her target map updated. Only King Vorthak, the queen consort, and the High Chancellor remained. The royal bloodline would not survive the night. As she moved deeper into the palace, her thoughts drifted, not to the pain, not to the slaughter, but to the old world. Earth, the laughter of children, the smell of rain, the faces of her comrades, long dead. She wasn't doing this for vengeance. She was doing it so that no human, no child, would ever have to kneel before alien tyrants again. She wiped the blood from her hands, raised her eyes to the final corridors ahead, and kept moving. The purge of royal blood. The screams had faded. The once grand Emerald Passage was slick with alien blood. Shattered glass, broken weapons, and twitching bodies littered the corridors. But Eva Dorne kept moving, her breathing shallow, her movements precise. Every second mattered. Her internal timer showed 1 hour remaining. The royal family's death list glowed in her retinal HUD. Prince Zalvek, eliminated. Princess Yura, eliminated. Minister Lord Brutal, eliminated. Remaining targets: the Queen, the Chancellor, the King. She moved without hesitation. Silent. Efficient. The Queen Consort was holed up in her private sanctum, a glittering chamber of living crystals and biolamps. Her guards, 6th Zethary Elite, stood ready, weapons drawn, claws flexed. Eva didn't stop. The first guard died before he could fire, a thrown blade to the throat. The second fell as she closed the distance, his skull crushed under augmented fists. The remaining 4 raised plasma rifles, but Eva moved faster, faster than they could think. She was a blur of motion, dodging, striking, disabling. When the last guard gasped his final breath, Eva turned to the trembling Queen. The alien female, tall, scaled, wearing a gown of golden skin, backed away, hands raised. "Mercy," the Queen hissed in broken Terran. "Please, I am no soldier." Eva stared, her expression unreadable. For a moment, her hands trembled. Memories clawed at the edges of her mind. The screams of human children, the fires of Earth's surrender, the shattered cities. "I was no soldier either," Eva said softly. Then she pulled the trigger. The Queen crumpled, lifeless. 40 minutes remaining. Her muscles ached. Nerve endings flared. Blood vessels ruptured beneath her skin. The Sable Protocol was consuming her. But Eva pressed on. She disabled palace-wide communications completely. The Zethary homeworld surface was already in chaos. Distress signals jammed. Chain of command shattered. Some tried to escape the palace in private shuttles, but Eva's viral hack kept the hangar doors sealed. They would die trapped inside their golden cage. The High Chancellor, second in power only to the King, cowered inside the Hall of Ancients, a chamber lined with statues of the Zethary's long-dead ancestors. Eva found him kneeling before the statues, sobbing, his bodyguards lying in pools of acid blood around him, already slaughtered by her drones. The Chancellor raised his hands. "I have information," he pleaded, voice shaking. "I can help you. Spare me, and I'll give you control codes. Ships, wealth, protection for your people." Eva tilted her head. "Your people turned Earth into ash," she murmured. "I don't need your bribes." A single shot to the head ended him. 30 minutes left. Her vision blurred. Skin tore along her arms where enhanced muscle pressed too hard against fragile flesh. The nanites were failing. The clock was against her. But she could see it now. The final doors. The throne room. Beyond them, King Vorthak. Eva paused, gathering what little strength remained. Her hands were shaking violently. Blood trickled from her nose, her ears. Her heart skipped erratically in her chest. She forced herself forward. The throne room doors boomed open as she stepped through. The Galactic King sat alone on his obsidian throne, surrounded by the corpses of his last surviving guards. His golden robes were stained with sweat and terror. The once mighty ruler who had mocked her now trembled, clutching a ceremonial blade too ornate to use. "Stay back," Vorthak rasped, voice cracked. "You can't. This is madness." Eva's voice was low, cold. "No. This is justice." The king screamed and lunged, but it was over in seconds. Eva sidestepped the clumsy attack, seized his wrist, and with one brutal motion, snapped it backwards. Vorthak howled. She drove her blade into his chest, twisting until she felt the crack of bone. The light in his alien eyes flickered, then faded. The Galactic King, the monster who had enslaved her world, was dead. Eva staggered back. Her body was failing, limbs trembling, vision fading. But it was done. The entire royal bloodline was extinguished. Somewhere, far away, sirens wailed. Ships moved in orbit. The larger empire would respond soon, but they were too late. The palace was in ruins. The chain of command obliterated. Rebellions on distant colonies would soon follow. Eva slumped against the black stone of the throne. Blood dripped from her fingertips. Her breathing slowed. She smiled faintly. Humanity kneels to no one, she whispered. Then the darkness took her, the throne of ashes. The throne room was silent, save for the distant echoes of alarms and the crackle of small fires. Beneath the towering banners of a now-dead empire, Eva Dorne stood swaying, her breathing ragged. Her blood pooled at her feet, mingling with that of the slain King Vorthak, whose lifeless body lay twisted at the base of the throne. The obsidian seat of power loomed above them both, empty, cold, meaningless now. Her vision blurred. Red warning lights flashed across her HUD. Biointegrity failure, 82%. Neurological overload, critical. Organ collapse in 14 minutes. The Sable augmentations had pushed her beyond human limits, and now they were killing her. But the mission was complete. The Zethri royal family, extinct. Through the haze of pain, Eva staggered to the throne and sat down heavily. Her breathing was shallow, each heartbeat thunderous in her ears. The weight of her own bloodied body pressed down, yet her mind remained sharp, burning with purpose. She activated her remaining link to the palace's broadcast system. A flicker of static, then connection. The signal reached every corner of the empire, military outposts, slave worlds, neutral systems. The image, a lone human, bathed in crimson light, seated on the throne of the galaxy's most feared rulers. She spoke, her voice hoarse but steady. "Your kings are dead," Eva rasped. "Their bloodline is ended." She coughed, more blood spilling from her lips, but forced herself to continue. "For too long, humanity has bled beneath alien boots. We knelt. We obeyed. We suffered." Her gaze hardened. "No more." Across 100 systems, beings of every species watched in stunned silence. "This is not just for Earth," she said. "This is for every world crushed by this empire. Rise. Fight. You owe them nothing." She ended the transmission. The damage was done. All across the galaxy, the Zethri Empire began to fracture. Unconquered worlds, resistance cells activated. Rebellion sparked. Governors panicked. Without the royal bloodline to hold it together, the empire, once thought eternal, was collapsing by the minute. Eva let her head fall back against the cold stone. A small, grim smile touched her lips. It was over. She barely noticed the approach of footsteps until a gentle hand touched her shoulder. "Eva, hey, stay with me." It was Marcus Vey. The diplomat-turned-rebel knelt beside her, eyes wide with horror at the carnage, but filled with something else too. Awe. "You're alive," he whispered, checking her pulse, his voice shaking. God, Eva, I thought you were gone." Her lips twitched. "Not yet." Marcus glanced around the throne room, disbelief in his voice. You killed them all." She coughed weakly. "I told you. 3 hours." More footsteps. Human soldiers. Not the polished, broken diplomats of Earth's colonial government, but the hidden fighters, the loyalists Eva had planted weeks ago. The ones waiting for this exact moment. Weapons drawn, they secured the room. Several dropped to one knee at the sight of her, even as her body slumped, bleeding and broken. "She's dying," Marcus said urgently. "Get medical now." But Eva shook her head faintly. "No," she whispered. "I'm done." Her eyes drifted upward, beyond the marble arches, beyond the stained glass windows shattered by stray blasts. Somewhere, in the distance, she imagined she could see Earth. Blue, fragile, free. A tear slipped down her cheek. Her voice was barely audible when she spoke again. Don't let them rebuild this. Burn all. No kings. No empires. Marcus gripped her hand tightly. I swear, he whispered. I swear it. The others nodded. One by one, the fires of rebellion lit across the stars. As the sun set over Varix Prime, the once mighty heart of the galaxy, Eva Dorne, the woman they struck, the woman they tried to break, closed her eyes for the last time. The human monster they feared had become the symbol of something far more dangerous. Hope.